Welcome to the real world.
We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order, a world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations. When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN's founders.
All we say to America is be true to what you said on paper. If I lived in China or even Russia or any totalitarian country, maybe I could understand some of these illegal injunctions. Maybe I could understand the denial of certain basic First Amendment privileges because they haven't committed themselves to that over there. But somewhere I read of the freedom of assembly. Somewhere I read of the freedom of speech. Somewhere I read of the freedom of press. Somewhere I read that the greatness of America is the right to protest far right.
Mr. X, you have described the Muslim movement as a religious organization, and you've said that there are a great many misconceptions about your attitudes and stated views. Could we press for a very simple answer to one question? Do you hate all white people?
I don't think it's a fair question. The white man doesn't even come into my attitude. Stripping them of all human characteristics and relegating them to the role of chattel or cattle or animals, commodity, merchandise that could be bought and sold at will. And then 100 years since the Emancipation Proclamation, using every type of deceptive method to further us into slavery, called second-class citizenship, I think that it would take a whole lot of nerve for white people today to ask Negroes, do they hate them? Okay.
Tank, load the jump program. You have to let it all go, Neo. Fear, doubt, and disbelief. Free your mind.
Okie dokie. For my mind.
What if he makes it?
No one's ever made the first jump.
I know. But what if he does?
He won't.
Come on.
Right. No problem. Free my mind. Free my mind. No problem. Right.
Alright, we back. And this is Oh So Ice, the Young Elder. And now we're finna go into the next level, right? And this is court proceedings. Before we go farther, if you intend on committing a real crime, such as murder, burglary, assault on somebody, this information, man, is not for you. It's not gonna work for you, brother. You gotta go to a different ball game. Cause you doing real crime, brother. Doing bodily harm or damage to injury to body or property is a real crime. And this information is not used for this type of criminal. This is used for the average street guy who minding his own business, who don't break laws, but get harassed by the police. Here's to wreak havoc on the poor and the least of us. We're gonna be dropping a couple vocabulary words on you, right? Because these police, man, they use intimidation and bullying, and they lie. Because police can legally lie to you. We talked about that on the last couple tapes. But intimidation is one of their main tactics.
Since you engaged me, can I have your name and your badge number?
Sure, in a minute. Identification, sir.
Have I broken the law? Have I done anything wrong?
Identification.
Have I done anything wrong? What's your name and your badge number?
Captain David Wheeler. I need to see your identification,
Are you familiar with the Florida Penal Code on presenting ID?
I am.
Commission of a crime, committed a crime, or about to commit a crime. Which have I done?
Suspicious activity, sir.
That's not a crime. Is that a misdemeanor or a felony? Is that a misdemeanor or a felony? Is that a misdemeanor or a felony?
Loitering and prowling, sir?
I know the loitering laws. I'm not loitering. I'm actually conducting a business. So come up with something else. I'm not prowling, haven't entered your property. So let's try another intimidation practice.
It's not an intimidation practice, sir. I like to know who you are.
Yeah, well, you don't need to know who I am. Lieutenant, why are you, or captain, or whoever you are, why are you approaching me aggressively like this? I'm a citizen. Do you understand that? Do you respect citizens in Florida? Why are you being so aggressive with me? Can you please back up? You have a weapon. I have no weapons. Can you please back up? You're intimidating me, sir. I'm starting to fear for my life. Can you please back up?
You haven't feared for
Thank
your
you.
life, not yet?
Not yet? Is that a threat?
No, absolutely not.
Oh. I'm talking, why are you so close? I'm a journalist gathering content for a story, which is a constituted protected activity. First Amendment, you ever heard of it?
Can I see some journalists?
You don't need to see it. I'm independent. That's the freedom of press. Anything else you'd like to learn about the law? Anything else you'd like to learn about the law?
To overpower you, overthrow you with words and action. Then they have a deadly weapon on their hip, and they known, right, for shooting folks up, pulling out a cell phone, going for a wallet.
Stay with me.
This is Diamond Reynolds streaming live on Facebook from her cell phone, just moments after her boyfriend, Philando Castile, was shot by police during a traffic stop over what she says was a broken taillight. She says Castile told the officer he was carrying a licensed gun.
He's licensed to carry. He was trying to get out his ID and his wallet out his pocket, and he let the officer know that he had a firearm and he was reaching for his wallet, and the officer just shot him in his arm.
The police officer pointing his gun into the car. Reynolds calm and clear. Her young daughter in the back seat.
Waiting for him back. I will, sir. No worries. I will. He just shot his arm off. We got pulled over on Larpener.
I told him not to reach for it. I told him to get his hand out.
You told him to get his ID, sir, and his driver's license. Oh my God, please don't tell me he's dead. Please don't tell me my boyfriend just went like that.
Keep your hands where they are, please.
Yes, I will, sir. I'll keep my hands where they are. Where's my daughter? You got my daughter?
Then officers, guns drawn, order Reynolds out of the car.
Get on your knees. Get on your knees.
Now on the ground, she never stops live streaming.
They threw my phone, Facebook.
Hell, one guy had a burrito and they shot him up. I mean, these people are going crazy. Mike Brown and Trayvon Martin didn't have nothing on them, and they got shot up. So this is, is out of hand with the intimidation. Some of these beings take it too far. They already be mad when they come on to the job and they bring their personal life into the business, because it's all business. Keep that in mind. All this is, they making it personal. See, there's some cops out here that make it personal because they're racist, right? Or they have some vendetta against a certain group of people. So we're gonna introduce you into some of the things we do as Moors, and we recommend, right, if you're a dark-skinned being of descent in the United States, we recommend you go on declare your nationality, right? And you're not denouncing your blackness by calling yourself a Moor. By calling yourself a Moor, you just calling yourself more black. You know what I'm saying? Because the blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice, right? But in legal documents, this is the true nationality of the people on this side of the globe, right? Now we know that the Moors are Africans, right? But we are Africans who came over to this land thousands of years prior to Christopher Columbus even being born, right? And hey, you can go check out my tape, right? The Majesties of America, and you'll see, so we can break that down for you. Part 1. There's some Moors who probably don't got the information down packed, so tune in, Moors, listen in, and get you some pen and paper, and take notes, because we about to go in here. Now you Moors can argue jurisdiction off the top, and they can't proceed after that, okay? You can argue jurisdiction off the top, and they can't proceed. Because once you place your status on the record, you must get the judge status on record, the DA status on record, right? Everybody that's in there against you must have their status on the record.
I need your name and position, sir. I need your name and position, sir.
No one is going to give you any information.
Ma'am, are you stating that you are not obligated to provide me with your identity and status?
You know my name.
Your employees or your co-workers are not obligated to provide me with their identity, status, and company position, ma'am?
My understanding is that Judge Smith has required Mr. Kiesler to represent you.
Objection. I've addressed this matter with Judge Smith. Judge Smith does not have jurisdiction and could not prove jurisdiction. Therefore, Judge Smith does not have the authority to make any decisions for me. And neither do you. And neither does Mr. Kiesler, and neither does the Office of Public Defense. For the record. Now, as I stated, you just told me that you did not hear my question. My question was, I need the information for the people here who are attempting to force business on me. I want his name and position, I want her name and position, and I want his name and position. And I want your nationality.
You know my name, that is all you need to know.
I don't know your name, ma'am.
Judge Laban, that is my name.
Your nationality?
You have no need to know my nationality.
Yes, I do. You are attempting to force business upon me, I need to know your nationality. For the record. And your status, for the record, and anybody else that's working with you.
Remember, you're not there to argue with the judge. You got to argue with the person that's bringing the charges against you, the state or whoever's bringing the charges against you. And none of them can prove their status, right? Because they're not Americans. They're Europeans. They're Caucasians. They're French. They're Chinese. So none of them can prove the proper status to be operating in your land, and none of them have the proper delegation of authority. Your majesty, is it? It's not your majesty, it's my majesty. Or my honor. Not your honor, my honor. So you don't really have to get into all this, right? Let's say if you want to dance with them, and they keep proceeding, you got other ways to really put the hawk on, right? And keep in mind, one of their favorite games in the court of law, in court proceedings, right? It's semantics. They play these word games on you to talk over your head. And if you don't understand these word games, you can be played and tricked out of your rights. And most of the fellas, like Judge Joe Brown said, prison is a warehouse for slaves, right? Because 97% of the people in jail plead guilty off top, right? Because they be intimidated. Oh, we're gonna give you 100 years and you take this to trial, right? And the bean can't afford no lawyer to assess the damage, then they pretty much plead guilty and take the lesser sentence, right? And they, and like Judge Joe Brown said, 85% of those people confess to the crime because they didn't use their Fifth Amendment, which is the right to remain silent without a lawyer present, right?
Like I said, here's the thing. You're saying, Eric, you're not smarter than this. Okay, exactly why I should have a lawyer.
Listen as he requested an attorney over and over again. It's video shown to the jury before they acquitted him of all charges.
I hope you enjoy the sunshine today because the last time you're going to see it.
When detectives brought Gareth Stevens in, the 19-year-old accused of killing Stephen Baldwin immediately asked for a lawyer.
The only way you can help yourself is if you want to talk.
Despite repeated requests for an attorney.
They're going to hold me here, I guess. Yeah, I would like to have a lawyer.
Detective Jeff Kennedy with the Clarksville Police Department pressed on.
I can help you right now. If you want to keep that cocky attitude up, you want to say to me, you want to talk to a lawyer and all this.
Attorney Bart Bateau represented Stevens, who was found not guilty of all charges, including murder.
And only 3% of all those people that's in jail are ever found guilty at trial, right? So it's a big game, right? To cut back on the product, subsidize the would-be producer, and store up the surplus. That's what it's all about. This is a game, a business. It's about money, a business, commerce, right? And write that word down, commerce. What is commerce? Commerce is the conduction of trade. The conducting of trade amongst economy agents. Understand that word, the key words here. Generally, commerce refers to the exchange of goods, services, or something of value between businesses or entities.
In order to better explain what commerce is, let us take the example of Mega Bakers, a baking shop that bakes and delivers bread and other products to its customers. Commerce for this company would be the process of exchanging its baked products for money. Commerce would also encompass the logistics of getting the raw materials to the bakery and of distributing the finished product to the customers. So, what exactly is commerce? Well, it is described as the effective process of exchanging products or services using some monetary aspect, as well as the logistical process of transforming raw materials into usable products or services. Commerce in the proper sense is said to occur if the scale of this exchange is large enough to include logistics and transportation of these products or services across various boundaries. In order for commerce to occur effectively, trade and industry have to take place together in a harmonious way. What exactly are trade and commerce, you may ask? Well, trade, within the context of commerce, is the process of buying and selling goods and services through the use of some medium of exchange. In our case, trade would be the process that Mega Bakers uses to sell its bread and other items from its bakery. In this regard, let's define another form of trade, barter trade or barter transactions. These are transactions where, rather than using money as the medium of exchange, the buyer and seller use a cashless medium. Barter transactions have to be agreed upon by both parties in order to be successful.
Keep that in mind, because commercial, right? Because a lot of words in court, they play semantics like traffic. Traffic really means commerce, right? They play these word games, right? Vehicle really means commerce. Driver or driver license or driving really means commerce, right? When you break the word down, and we're about to get into that. We gave you a lot of information on the last tape how to deal with these agents on the street, and we want to clarify a couple more things that you can know so when you get to court, it'll be easier to ramble, right? Okay? You want to make sure you get yourself a recorder, an audio recorder, or video recorder. You want to have recorders, sometime more than one on you at a time. Because you want to catch everything the officer is saying on tape. Because it's going to be very important in court. So make sure you got that recorder on prior to the police approaching your car or approaching you. And these three things assimilated around invoking the right, protecting the right, and demanding the right. Keep in mind, it's all about money. They're trying to extort money out of you. This is a big racketeering criminal organization called a municipal court, right, or court system. So this first question you want to ask the police, is this being video or audio recorded for quality service, officer? And you want to get an answer to all these questions that I'm about to give you. So the first question is, like we said, when the officer approach your car, is this being recorded or video recorded for quality service, officer? And 95% of the time, they're going to say, yes, it's being recorded. But keep in mind, if you get them in the red, if the DA go back and check out the tape and you taking them to trial and they check out the tape and see you defeating them within these with these questions that I'm about to give you, right? They all of a sudden their equipment was malfunctioning that day or it wasn't working properly, right? They got ways to try to finger you on top of all of this. So you want to get the cop on tape, admit that he is video or audio recording the encounter. Because it's going to play a very critical role if they try to pull a stunt in court, right? Saying that the equipment was malfunctioning. You also got it on your recorder that he acknowledged to filming and recording it, okay? Because most of these cops, ever since the Mike Brown and Trayvon.
Why are you taking off like that, man? Huh? Why are you taking off like that? Get back.
No.
Get back.
Nope.
Keep your hands where you can see them. Keep your hands right up. You're interfering with me, my man. You're interfering, so you're going to go in the back of the car.
That's fine.
Okay. Dude, stop resisting.
I'm not resisting you.
Stop resisting.
I'm not resisting you. Put me on the ground then.
If you keep fighting me, I will.
I'm not fighting you.
Dude, stop fighting. You're going to go on the ground.
Just so you know, I'm recording this conversation. just for my records.
Okay, let me explain something to you.
Okay.
What are you recording?
I am recording this conversation that we have right now because
Okay.
I don't
Let
think
me
it's
explain
obstructing,
something
sir.
to you.
Yes, sir.
You can go to jail for that, what you just did.
I don't think the Supreme Court decision of Peck versus
Let
Alfred
me explain
determines
something
that.
to you.
Okay.
Okay. It is illegal for you to record a conversation without my permission and without notifying me.
I just informed you, sir, that
you
I'm
did not
informing
have
you.
my permission, and you just notified me after you started recording the conversation.
No, sir. I started recording right now,
You
sir.
want to argue about it?
No, sir. Don't want to argue about it, sir.
Okay. If you want to argue about it, I can just arrest you, and you can.
No, that's okay. I don't want to argue about it. I have to take my citation, sir.
Turn your recording off.
Okay. I am officially turning the recording off because the officer asked me to stop recording.
One incident, now these beings are responsible for weighing cameras, right? And they have walkie-talkie mics on them recording the whole conversation when you encounter these beings. So more, when you encounter these police, make sure you put your nationality on record with them on their camera, right? State your nationality for the record.
I'm a Moorish American, of course I do.
You're a what?
I'm a Moorish American. Are you honoring your constitutional oath today?
And your status. The second question you want to ask the officer is, officer, could you please state your name and badge number for the record, please?
What's your name?
Officer Turner.
What's your badge number?
Did I hit you, sir? You want me to call
No,
my supervisor?
no, listen.
Would you like
You
me to
just
call my
committed a
supervisor?
crime. What's your name?
I'm calling my supervisor.
And what's your badge number?
Officer Turner.
No, what's your badge number?
236.
Are you honoring your constitutional oath today?
Because it's going to be very important that you get the name and badge number of the officer. Because the next couple questions that follow, you're going to add his name and badge number into the tape, into these questions. Because in court, we don't want to make no distinction of who we're talking to. We want to let the jury see exactly who we're talking to when we're stating these questions. So when this officer get up on the stand and you play this tape back, he pretty much gonna be screwed. So get the officer to state his name and badge number for the record. Don't let them tell you they don't have to give you their name and badge number because it's policy. An officer should always have at least 3 forms of ID on them. That's part of their policy. That's part of their uniform. If they don't have 3 forms of ID, they're out of uniform. Keep in mind, never talk to the police. Don't answer any of their questions, right? They ask you questions like, where you headed? Where you coming from? Do you know why I pulled you over? Never admit or answer any of these questions because this can be used against you in the court of law, right? When they play the tape back, they can show that you, some people admit pulled you over for running that stop sign back there. You say, oh yeah, I'm sorry, officer. Once you do that, you're automatic. Might well plead guilty and bend over. I told you. They got a sick and twisted ritual going on up at the police academy. See, they give these beings policy. They don't teach them law, they teach them policies. Because it's a business, right? And a business have policy. So when they're stating you, pull you over, stating things to you, they're stating you policy, not law half the time. They're stating to you ordinance and codes, not law. So remember, don't engage in small conversations, small talk, or nothing with the police. Once you state your rights, right, you have nothing else to say. Just simply stop answering questions for the police, because you're screwing yourself over. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say will be used against you at all times when you're in contact with these beings, right? What is intimidation? To make timid or fearful, frightened, especially to compel or detect by or as if by threatening, trying to intimidate a witness. To force, to threaten, to use fear as a tool to get a person to do something not under their own free will. So they use different tactics like, I'm gonna take you to jail, right? I'm gonna tow your car, or this and that, to get you off your square. They use fear to get you off your square, all right? But we're really not standing on the square, we're standing on a circle. We'll get into that later though. We sit on the square and we stand on the circle. Check this out, right? Because we told you they like to escalate the situation. And check out the meaning of escalate, right? It's the scaling of a fortified wall using ladders as a form of military attack. Man, did you hear that shit? A scale of fortified wall using ladders as a form of military attack. Man, let me break that down for you. So the ladder part is when they try to use their authority over you, right? Try to escalate the situation by using their authority. They said this is a form of military attack. So this means creating a military attack against you when they use intimidation and they escalate the situation. This is a military, these beings are trained and doing military tactics on us, man. This shit is crazy, yo. Okay, we're back to the questions now. Remember, everything is stimulated around invoking the right, protecting the right, and demanding your rights. Okay? And this right here is the intro part of it, where we're getting you into setting up the court case, right? So when you go to court, you'll be safe as far as a record in an encounter with the officer prior to the court case, on the ticket, what have you, right? So the first question was, is this being recorded for quality service? Could you state your name and badge number for the record? And let's say for the sake of this conversation, the officer's name is Davis, badge number 134, right? 134. Keep that in mind, because we're going to state that badge number with every question that we ask the officer prior to coughing up anything to him. We got to get an answer to all these questions before we can cough up anything to this officer, right? For him to make a case or try to make a suit against us. Because a ticket is a suit. We're going to get into that. They suing you when they take you to court for a ticket. The cop might try to ask you a question like, are you aware that you were speeding? Never answer questions like this. Never admit, never even give no explanation on these type of questions. Because they're trying to have this document so when you get to court, if you take it to court, all they got to do is roll the camera back and you say if you admitted to it right there on tape. Okay? Now, in the midst of you asking these questions, if you make it to question 2, right? You got some officers who are bullies, right? Because they get trained to lie and intimidate and bully in their academy. So keep that in mind. They get trained on policy, right? And not every police is like this, though, right? You might get 2 out of 10 that's some good cops, and you know what I'm saying? You ain't got to handle them in certain ways. But keep in mind, they still the police. So some cops off the dump will escalate the situation and then try to get, say, in certain states, like we told you, got to go back and get them other tapes, part 4 and part 5, so you'll know about stopping ID states. Because stopping ID states, you got to at least give them your name, address, and date of birth in some cases, right? What they will try to do is escalate the situations and try to say, we're going to arrest you for obstructing justice, right? Which is a felony charge. They try to say, oh, it's a felony charge. It's a crime, right? Obstructing justice. And the definition of obstructing justice, right, is damage or removal of something so it can't be used as evidence in an investigation or proceeding or interfacing with a witness in an investigation or proceeding. Meaning you try to talk to a witness or tamper with a witness to get them to change their story, or you remove or damage evidence that's part of an investigation. This is obstructing justice. So obstructing justice has nothing to do with them getting your ID, right? Especially if you are suspected of committing that crime, why would you be reliable to give them any evidence against you if you suspected of committing a crime, right? Which brings you back to part 4 and part 5, am I being detained? If I'm not being detained, am I free to go, right? If you're being detained in a stopping ID state, you'll be required to at least give them name, address, date of birth, right? But you don't even want to cop that up until you read all these questions out to them, until you get an answer to all these questions. Okay, and we're going to tell you how, if they try to escalate the situation, we're going to tell you how to give this information up and still not be held accountable when it come down to court proceedings. So the third question is, you're going to remember, you're going to state the officer badge number from this point on and his name to go along with the question. So the third question is, Officer Davis, badge number 134, what is the emergency? Because if they turn their lights on, then it must be an emergency. What is the emergency, right? He usually gonna state some traffic violation, or you swerved, or you ran that stop sign, or you ran that light, or you was going 10 above the speed limit, or whatever, right? Okay. Question 4, Officer Davis, badge number 134, what facts and information are you relying on to stop me and accost me at this moment? Officer Davis, badge number 134, for the record, I am not operating in a for-hire capacity by engaging in any form of transportation or commercial of use of the highway. Officer Davis, badge number 134, please acknowledge that you have duly been informed. And it's very important that you get an answer to this question here, because when we get back in court, this is going to play a very critical role to your right to travel. See what I'm saying? In order for them to deal with you, it's got to be in commerce. If it ain't commerce, they can't even deal with you, right? They can't even touch you. It's like getting rid of the mark of the beast. If the officer want to play hardball, right, hold your square and keep repeating, just like they do. Keep repeating the question until you get an answer, right? Because you can't proceed till you get an answer to that question, right? And once, if he gonna answer the question, and then he give me his driver license and registration and proof of financial responsibility or insurance. If it seemed like the officer starting to escalate the situation, which we told you was a military tactic, right? To go over your head, right? Then you would hit him with this next question, right? You can either hit him with this question or you can hit him with the following question first, either or. However the situation is going, you be the judge on the situation, because they killing brothers, you know, like we say, they killing brothers for say they look like he had a gun, you know what I'm saying, in the car. Hell, they shot a brother in the back. Why they had him on the ground in handcuffs? I mean, these people are crazy. Understand who you dealing with now. They the biggest gang in America. The police. They're the real thugs and menace to society. Right? At least 80% of them are menace to society because they own the force and don't really know the law. Don't know the Constitution. Take an oath to the Constitution and don't know but about 5 or 6 quotes from the Constitution. What kind of mess is this? And you need to start holding your mayor responsible for teaching his officers, passing and changing them damn policies around, and stop trying to finger us. Because half the time when I go to traffic court, I see 95% of the people that's in there are of African descent, or Moorish descent, whatever floats your boat. So the next 2 questions, you want to ask these 2 questions after you put that on the record. You want to ask these questions, right? Officer Davis, badge number 134. Do you have a proper sign and issue warrant authorizing you to search me or my property? You want to get an answer to that question. Next question. Officer Davis, badge number 134. Do you have a proper issue and sign warrant authorizing my arrest that accurately describe me as the person to arrest by name or by description? And you want to get an answer to that question. And then you hit him with the final question. Officer Davis, badge number 134. For the record, I am not operating in a for-hire capacity by engaging in any form of transportation or commercial of use of the highway. Officer Davis, badge number 134, please acknowledge that you have duly been informed. Once he acknowledged to the final question, you got him, right? He just admitted that you told him that you wasn't in commerce, therefore his business with you is none and void. Anything that he proceed after that is not gonna play out good for him, especially in federal court. The feds are gonna be all over that. Then after that, you wanna ask the officer again, am I being detained or am I free to go? If he say you're being detained, if he continue to proceed, you wanna state these questions, right? After that, for the record, Officer Davis, badge number 134, in order to protect my rights and not to waive any of my rights by error or by accident, I wish to clarify my legal understanding of the situation. You said I'm not free to go. So that means that I am being detained. I'm not under arrest or not under simple investigation, detention. Therefore, I am invoking all my fundamental protected rights, including my right to remain silent and a right to assistance of counsel. Oh, you got them tied up here, man. They started to get agitated by now, right? And if you started trying to escalate the situation, request a supervisor immediately, right? Ask to speak to his supervisor immediately. If he say he the supervisor, ask to speak to his superiors. If an officer refuses to tell you his name and badge number, that's against company policy, right? And your response is that what you tell the judge, right? When he don't want to give you your name and badge, I don't want to, it's right here. He said, it's right here on my shirt, you got it recorded. Is that what you tell the judge? It's how you respond to him. For the record, Officer Davis, badge number 134, from this point forward, I do not consent to providing you with any information or documents that could lead to be used in the court of law against me. Don't ask me to produce any documents and give them to you. Officer Davis, badge number 134, from this point forward, please do not ask me to answer any questions or to perform any form of test related to any matter whatsoever. So this is what we need you to understand this information so you can get this on tape. So when we in court and we play this tape back, it'll be pretty much self-explanatory. Because you're stating the officer's name before every question and getting a response. You want a response to all these questions, right? And don't let them escalate the situation without calling their supervisor in, okay? And 65% of the time when you holding your square, right, and you know your rights, and you know what's going on, and you don't let them use fear and intimidation and bullying to get you off your square, 65% of the time, they usually just let you go once the supervisor come out. The other 45% of the time, they slam you down, assault you, kidnap your property, and don't worry about that, because we're going to come back and clap their ass, like I said, in a minute. If they kidnap a Moor, it is human trafficking. They will be held in federal court for human trafficking, because a Moor is not to be detained or arrested at all.
Do not touch me. Grab my, do not touch me. Grab my stuff. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. You're under arrest. I am not. Excuse me. I am not under arrest. I am not under arrest. This is, excuse me. No. Excuse me. No. Excuse me. Geronimo Bay. I came into a
Geronimo Bay is here on behalf of the Murphy matter.
And he, excuse me, we came in a special appearance on the Murphy matter, and he is attempting.
Judge has abandoned ship.
Judge has abandoned ship. Excuse me, judge has
no
abandoned
warrant.
ship. That we are here on special appropriate persona on the Murphy matter.
And he has
abandoned ship. Do not.
He has proof that he is not Andre Murphy.
Not touch me.
He's not Andre. He's not Andre Murphy. Yep, I need badge numbers and everything. I got them. Hey, Dre, Geronimo, don't resist. Geronimo, don't resist.
I'm not. Give me your hand. I'm not resisting. Give me your hand. I'm not resisting.
He's not resisting. That's not mine. It's not your property to touch, and I can definitely videotape.
He has the choke move on me.
Choke move. He's choking him. Choking him. Which officer? Which policy enforcer? Don't touch me. Y'all have your badge. I will have your badge. I am able to record it. It's being recorded. Anybody touch me? I am a private American national. I'm a private American national. You're on my property. This courtroom is on my property. Everybody better have a silver bond. Stop.
If they take a black dude, right, a black person or a white person or Asian or Chinese or somebody that's labeled on one of their races, right, that are wards of the state, if they kidnap them, it's not kidnapping. They getting arrested. But if they touch a Moor, it's kidnapping.